Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Anonymous Girl, an Unanonymous Girl, Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I know I said that I wasn't going to. I had started it, but I had to take it back to the library. Well, when I went back, they had it, so I got it again and finished it. Um, I'll be reviewing this one, and then David Sedaris' Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. So first off, The Anonymous Girl. I wanted to like it. When I first started it, I thought it was great. I was like, oh, wow, it sounds like it's going to be really interesting, and I'm really going to enjoy it. Um, and I was already about 100 pages in, and I was like, oh, okay, good. The book itself is fairly long. It was printed in 2018, and it's got 375 pages, which isn't too long for a book that needs that many pages. So um, I ended up rating this a two star, and I follow the Good Star Reads, which is two means it's okay, three means I liked it, four means I really liked it, and five means I loved it. And I try to stick to that. Like if I were to say to somebody about this book, I'd be like, it was okay. Um, so it follows a girl named Jess who is a beautician in New York City, and Dr. Shields. Dr. Shields is doing an ethics study that Jess enters without really being invited. And tries to figure out what this study is about. She answers some computer questions, and then it moves on to the next week and more computer questions, and then finally she meets Dr. Shields. And so through it, she finds that she has kind of been. You find that she's been kind of keeping secrets from herself that make her feel guilty, and just from her family and stuff, and that she finds that the study is really kind of helping her, so she's enjoying it. Um, so it kind of goes into that. So for the first, I don't know, I'd say 150 pages maybe, you're learning about the same thing she does. You know nothing about the study. You just kind of see her answering questions, kind of going through the motions and stuff. And then once she starts meeting Dr. Shields asks her to do some more in-depth things involving other people that make Jess feel kind of questionable about like what is this study really about? How am I being used in it? Kind of thing. And something just seems not everything it should be. And Jess kind of isn't sure who to trust and stuff like that. So that's what the book is about. The premise is really good. Um, I again, I guess I just thought it was okay. I don't know. I thought the writing style, like you get to know Jess because she writes in the first person, but Dr. Shields writes in as if she's taking notes of everything. So Dr. Shields writes in a way that is third person. Like I noticed, like you went out for coffee today and you didn't notice that you weren't alone, kind of thing. So she doesn't talk in her own voice. In her own voice, she talks in. I don't even know what kind of writing that is. Sorry that I can't describe it, but it's would it be third person? She's talking about somebody, um, as if that person was going to be reading the notes later. So it was really. I mean, at first it was like, oh, okay, she's a professional, so taking notes kind of that way. But as it goes on, it's kind of just tedious. It's almost like pretentious, and it's like I don't necessarily know if I mean maybe they want to create that space, that distance between the author and I mean the character and the reader. I didn't care for it. I thought it was boring and tedious, and towards the end, I was like, I don't even care what you have to say. I was interested in finding out what happened. So I mean, the storyline kept me going. It was like what's going to happen at the end, what's really going on. So that really did keep it. But the writing was just, it was short sentences because they did a lot of talking back and forth to each other. So they weren't like long, flowy paragraphs. It was like, hello, Jess said, um, how are you? Replied Dr. Shields. It was a lot of sentences like that, which you would think would make it go fast. But because I really wasn't interested in go that fast. So, um, but I was happy with the ending. I was happy with the book in general. I thought it was okay. It's not something I would read again. I really don't know if I'm going to read their other book. It was an interesting ride, I guess, but just the writing and reading itself wasn't too entertaining. So, gosh, and that sounds so awful because a lot did happen. I mean, it was interesting, but the way it was written just kind of made me stop and say, it took longer than it should have for me to read 300 and whatever I said pages. So, Anyway, there's that. If you have nothing else to do, it's a nice beach read. I mean, it's easy to read. So there you go. The next one is David Sedaris's Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. And this book, I'm not even sure when it was written. I picked it up at the Salvation Army, I think, last week for 10 cents. They were having a sale. I was like, how can I not? It was in 2004 by David Sedaris. And I love David Sedaris. I just think he's hilarious. I love his essays and just his wit. You know, I gotta say, I think this is only the first or maybe the second book I've read. Most of them I listen to in audio, and I just love listening to him. His dry voice is so straightforward, and you know, the way he tells his stories. He's just a storyteller, and I love it. So this book, you know, follows his other books. It's about essays, and most of them are about his family and himself. It starts out with him growing up in the South at a very young age, and you know, the first couple essays are about that, and then it kind of jumps to him nowadays, and I think, you know, he's been married for like 10 years, and so it's essays about that, and then it jumps back to, like, you know, going back home to visit his parents and what school was like, elementary school was like, and yeah, it's just, if you need like a fun beach read, this is it. I mean, but I do think he's not for everybody. I think that you need to know what his voice sounds like before reading it, because if I had not known what he sounded like, I'm not sure I would have found his essays as funny. But once you know and like listen to the way he tells his stories, that it's very dry, it's very straightforward, then I think it's easier for you to laugh because you can hear his voice in the stories. I'm trying to see if there's any spots that I marked. I don't often mark my books because usually they're library books, and it doesn't look like I did mark anything. But like, just some of the stuff he says is just so dry and hilarious. This one is sad, I think, the one spot that I did say. I'll read you the whole paragraph. Oh, come on, you did not make $44. I denied it for the sake of argument, knowing that of course he had made $44. The following weekend, his hair just that much longer, he would return to the fair and make even more. In no time, he'd be wearing ponchos and sitting cross-legged before elaborate brass hookahs, our friendship as vague and insignificant to him as an old locker combination. You know, sad. The two of you grew apart, my mother would say. She made it sound as if we'd veered off in different directions, though in fact we had the exact same destination. I just never made it. So that was a little more of like his heavy sentences, but like his brother's named Rooster, and he does talk about his sister Amy, and his other sister Gretchen and Tiffany. So he talks all about his family, and you know, he's pretty raw about it, and growing up with OCD, those kinds of things. So anyway, I really recommend this. Honestly, I'd give it a 5-star. It's probably, I just love David Sedaris. So I give it a 5-star, and I'm not going to apologize for it. You know, writing style, I don't know. I know he used to teach in universities and stuff, so he must be a good writer, but I just love his stories. They kind of get me out of myself and just laugh at the humanity of things and people. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this week's, and good luck reading those too if you follow them up. I recommend them both, just differently, you know. So take care. Bye-bye.